Good morning. Afternoon now. Sorry. We had some significant technical difficulties in the Robinson household, and it took a while to get online, and it was just a big pain in the booty. So the only person that was mostly affected was my son because he couldn't watch Nemo for the 9,124th time. So we finally got him online. We're all back online. Everything's moving along. You should be able to hear me. I believe you can hear me, so we're all cool. Awesome. So, yeah, the title is kind of odd because it's year, what was it? We've been in, this is day 2,900,000, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what number I put in. But there's a reason I did that, and it's because we're thinking about the future. Today we're taking a deviation from the Civil War. Hudson, we will be taking significant notes tomorrow. However, what I will say is this. Today's lesson is kind of super duper important because this is a today we're talking about something that is a, oh, good morning, good afternoon, Kathy, how are you doing? Today is a progression requirement. Go from 8th grade to 9th grade. This is something everybody has to do. I do know that we are announcing this in all classes. I mean, I think some classes started a little bit before break. I wasn't going to, I usually do mine near the end of the year, kind of like post Civil War, but we've been told to go ahead and give you guys the rest of the year to complete this, and it's kind of important, so I need you guys to listen in, follow in. If your friends actively choose not to watch this, that's cool. Just let them know they need to go back and watch this later. Or you can explain it to them, either one, whatever floats your boat. And we need to make sure we are 100% on board with what we're doing. And today we're doing a career planning unit. Look, we're not, this isn't like The Giver where we're about to assign you your forever job and that's what's going to be, but it's starting to get the ball rolling because I don't think you guys realize just how fast those next 4 years are really going to go, right? Going from middle school to high school seems like, oh wow, that's a huge transition, but it's really not. And I think I've probably said this in class, I'm sure 1,000 times. You're as close to graduating college as you are from starting kindergarten in terms of your educational career. You're in the middle point. For most of you, in terms of whether you want to go off to college and do something like that. Of course, you want to be a doctor. You've got a little bit longer to go, but still, the basic point is that you guys have to start thinking about what do I want to do. But and that's important. What do I want to make? Oh, I want to have a steak. That's great, but how am I going to get to that point? Well, I'm going to go get a hammer and go find a cow. Just kidding. That's brutal. But hey, that's where your sandwich comes from. Now, the goal is we need to identify what steps do we need to take in order to get ourselves to that particular career path. And in class, we would have done this thing called My Career Shines. We would have gone online and we would have gone through and identified what characteristics and traits and all that stuff. We would have did it together. I'm sure I would have, made fun of most of your guys' results and told you guys you couldn't accomplish what you probably could. Of course, I'd be being sarcastic, except for several of you. But anywho, here's what we're gonna focus on. So let's take a look. Boop boop boo. Let's go down to. You're gonna see. And oh, good. Let's see what. Oh, that's not good. Hold on. Maybe if I. No. Hold on, guys. We have another tech hiccup, but we can fix this one probably fairly quickly. Let's see. There we go. We're going to change this. Select an option. We're going to go to Google Chrome. Cool. Done. All right. Good. All right, so I got to look over here. So in Schoology, everybody has this now. I'm just on second period. In fact, I'll prove it to you. We'll go to, let's say, fourth period, for that matter. Okay, you go down. There it is. Everybody's got it. And you scroll down. What you're going to see is there's a couple different lesson plans in here. And this, if you guys look at the due date, it's from today through May 21st. Technically, May 21st is the last day we can give out assignments. Okay, that's the last day we can assign something to you until the school year's over. So we've been told you have the entire next several weeks. Really, if you look at it, just over a month. That's how little time we have left. Just kidding. It's fine. We're fine. But if you look at it, we have two things. So first off is lesson plan, explore occupations in Navigator, and lesson plan, learn about yourself in Navigator. So we're gonna let's start with the first one. Let's crack this thing open and see what we are looking at. It's gonna be a little hard for you to see on your screen, but you can pull it up alongside your YouTube video or whatever you're doing this, I'm sure. Now we are going to be using mycareershines.org, but we're just not doing it together in class. It's a fairly simple website to go through. Ultimately, you're going to, this is your step-by-step of how to log in and register. Okay, and it's going to show you kind of the things. So first off, we're going to select explore occupations. So we want to kind of look at what kind of jobs there are. And one of the big things that I try to tell kids is this. A lot of times when we're little, we know exactly what we want to be. As soon as we are, old enough to really talk, it's like, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a whatever you want to be. And all that's fine and great. However, many of you will grow up and take on jobs that you don't even know exist. And that's kind of the ironic thing about these programs we do with middle schoolers, is that we say, hey, we want you to kind of gear toward not necessarily a single specific career. Like when I was little, I didn't grow up and say, I want to be a social studies teacher, primarily focusing on advanced and higher level concept 8th grade social studies. Like, no, I didn't think that way. In fact, if you had told me in 10th grade that I would grow up to be a teacher, I'd probably laugh in your face. It would not have gone well. But here we are. And we're trying to focus you into like a cluster of careers, an area. What kind of things interest you? And that primarily comes down to being, let me do this real quick. Wow, a little bit late. One of the most important aspects of a career. Do you like what you do? Are you happy with what you do? One of the first things that a lot of people and children and adults alike will say is when they think about a job, well, how much money do you make? And how much money you make is important, right? You want to be comfortable. You want to be able to afford things and to do things and to have a home and all those things. But it's ultimately not the most important factor. It's a very important one, but not the most important. And the most important is, do you actually like what you do? Do you find reason and justification for doing what you do? Do you find fulfillment in your life for doing what you do? And the sheer fact that I get on my computer and look at this tiny little circle in front of me every day, well, not every day, as you guys have probably told last week or so, I only had to go down to like 3 days a week because of just the sheer number of assignments. If you guys look in focus, you have more assignments this quarter than you probably had in third and second quarter combined. So that part is time consuming. And I'm also daddy daycare and I raise a little one. How do we log in? You have to register first. Okay, so let's see. Well, let's do that together, gang. We can do this. So we're gonna go to mycareershines.org. Careershines.org. Let's do this. All right. So first, we gotta go. First, we're gonna find a career. Okay. So we are, of course, middle school and high school students. So we'll click here. Man, those are the coolest kids I've ever seen. All right, now we're going to click here and log in or register. Now, okay, COVID. Thank you, sir. Now, we're going to create an account. Now, you guys are going to click student, okay? Now, the next step is you're going to pick your grade level. Of course, you guys are 8th graders. You're going to pick what your graduation year is. I believe what you guys are, 2024, something like that. Now, you guys go to a public school. You guys are in Manatee County. Most of these things I'm telling you already know. Click. You're going to pick your school name. Remember, it's R. Dan Nolan Middle School, so if you're just looking for Nolan, you're not going to find it. You got to go to R. Dan Nolan. Cool. Next step. You're going to pick your name. So we're going to say Chris, because that's the coolest name out there. Robinson. You can put in your zip code. If you don't know one, you can use the schools. 34202. 10/10/1986. So I guess the earliest I can be born is 2000, but it's whatever. They'll figure it out. Okay, I'm a male. I'm like the oldest 8th grader ever. And then you will put in, you can use your student email. It really doesn't matter. You know what? Let's use, I don't know. We can use this. I can't use that one. We'll just use this one. Gmail. Next step. All right. Now, pick a username. Just know that myself, the administrators, and the guidance counselors will have access to this. So we will see what you're putting in as your username. I suggest using like yours, whatever your school email is. So mine would be Robinson2C. Whatever your email is. Example is what will be called. Okay, and then you're going to use a random password. I don't know what their thing it would be. I don't know if they have any restrictions. Guys, pick a security question. So, hey, time to get to know Mr. Robinson. I don't know. Hold on. Let's do this just so I have a feeling some of you might be nefarious and up to no good. So you're going to get to look at me while I do this part real quick. What an unfortunate situation. I can't trust my children. What's a good question? Some of you would know the first one, but none of you would know this one. All right. There we go. Cool. There we go. And we can go back down here to so what we're doing. None of you will know my father's middle name. You won't even guess it. All right. So, let's see. For me, I have to click on multiple. I have read and I agree to all their terms, and we're going to sign me up. I am not Hispanic. There we go. Cool. And now we've made it through. We just walked you guys through how to go and register for My Career Shines. It is not a very complicated process. If you guys have come to realize it, it's fairly simple. We kind of walk in here and do this kind of stuff. So, now there's a couple things I would like you guys to do once you kind of get through here. Okay? So, when you're in here, you're going to see that there's several things you can do. You can take an assessment, you can explore occupations, but first, we really want you to see you do is complete these two sections. Okay? This is the career interest assessment, and this is the skills confidence assessment. Now, I believe, hold on, let's see. Now, this is the most important part. Someone is going to dox Mr. Rob. Let's hope not. Okay? Let's look at something important here. Select the highest level of education that you expect to achieve. Now, every year we do this, and every year we get kids that go ahead and just put in, like, where they're at now. Well, they haven't completed high school, so not completed high school. Well, that is true. You probably haven't completed high school. However, do you expect to complete high school? Do you expect to go to a 2-year college? Do you expect to get a bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate, or whether it be PhD or MD, etc.? Do you expect to do those things? So, if, for example, you are in HOSA and your dream is to grow up to be an anesthesiologist, you would have to put down doctorate or professional degree because you have to have an MD to do that job. If you expect to be a lawyer, you need to complete at least a master's degree or at least a bachelor's degree. I believe you still would have to do a professional degree to become a lawyer as well. If you expect to go into business, you can get that with a bachelor's degree, or you can get an MBA, a master's in business administration. So you can get an MBA, whatever it might be. Okay? So let's say we expect to get a doctorate degree. Now, of course, I'm going to let you guys do this. We're not going to do this together because this would take me, it's going to take a little while, and I don't want to stream a bunch of boring me clicking on things. But again, it says performance for an audience. I strongly agree that I'm good at that. I strongly like doing that, clearly. Even though my audience don't care about me. They learn about recent adventures in science and technology. Did I say adventures? Advances in science and technology. Work with families who are needy and poor. Install flooring in a room. Research climate change solutions. Help students who are new to a school. I strongly dislike doing that. New kids can may as well just go away. Okay? So, ultimately, this isn't fairly complicated, but what it's ultimately going to do is it's going to pull your answers and try to identify what interests might it have. Will you get some choices that are so far off base you're like, absolutely not, I would never want to do that in a million years? Yes, it will happen. But it's because your particular set of skills and abilities match up with a job that you don't have interest in. And that's part of how do we decide what job we want to have and how do we decide the type of career we should go into. It's a mixture of my abilities and skills plus my interest. Right? So if I have particular skills at doing certain things, but I'm not interested in a particular field, I probably won't do the job. But that perfect job for you is where you mix and match all those different things, right? So for me, I'm interested in history. When I was younger, I didn't think I would do that as a career, but I was interested in it. I'm pretty decent at talking in front of groups of people. Do we have to do this daily or is it self-paced? This is 100% self-paced. You just need to get through it when you get through it. So for some of you, I know you guys are going to probably just burn it all through real quick, get it done. Some of you might put it off to the last second. Some of you, but just keep in mind, you must complete this. This is mandatory. It has to be done. It's not just me saying it's for a grade, blah, 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 blah. No, this is a progression requirement. Typically, we do this in class and we force you to do it, so that way it never affects kids. This year, because of COVID-19 and the whole situation we're at now, it is affecting people. So we ultimately have to ensure that. Hold on. Why is this cable all the way over here? Sorry, having a little bit of a technical difficulty. You know what? What if I do this? Sorry, give me a second. Whoop, there we go. So, ultimately, many of you are stuck in a situation where you need to follow through on this one, and we're not going to be sitting there. Can you redo it? Yes, you can. I believe it does. Yeah, the accuracy, it's, again, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Is this created by a group of sociologists and engineers and technical engineers who can create a perfect algorithm to map your particular interests and skills based on a fully well-coded set of data? No, this is made by the Florida Department of Education as a mandatory requirement for a law that was passed. So you can redo it, you can follow through with it, but it's to give you kind of some ideas. And I know when we did this in class, one of the fun things was for kids to share kind of the examples. And I know one of our students who would go on, and she's a senior this year. She's graduating. She graduated high school in the top, she's definitely top 10%, probably top 5 in her class, going to the University of Florida, all this blah, 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 blah. And because she didn't follow instructions and pay attention correctly when she did this particular assignment, I remember the best job choice she was given was waitress, because she said, well, I have yet to complete high school, so there is no way, she has yet to complete high school, so she could only select with no high school degree. So the best job she got was interpretive dancer and waitress. So to this day, it still makes me kind of amused. Okay. Um, that is actually a good question. I just got an email from somebody, and whether you are, because I do have a couple seventh graders because of where they came from and completion of U.S. history and civics in different times. Yes, you do need to do this. This is a requirement for everybody, and if you're in my class, you should still be doing this. It's not very complicated, so I wouldn't really worry too much about doing this. But for those of you who are already kind of in here doing this, it is fairly simple. I don't think you're going to really struggle on this one. So ultimately, my goal for you guys will be go through this, have fun with it, keep going through, take an assessment. You guys actually, it also gives you a good idea as to, for example, I mean, I saw that Norman said he didn't find anything in particular that he felt it wasn't super accurate in terms of his interests. But some of you guys are going to be introduced to career paths and options that do, because it'll tell you like the base salary or the average salary that people in this particular career make and the type of things you'll need to do. But more importantly for you guys, because this is something you need to start thinking about, especially with high school coming in with registration, especially for some of our smarty pantses and their AP classes and their honors classes, what classes you need to take, what colleges you need to attend, what majors you need to go into to get into these jobs. And by completing a lot of these assignments ahead of time, completing these courses ahead of time, especially in the using AP and dual enrollment classes while you're in high school, if you're given the opportunity, this puts you on a better path to doing what it is you want to do correctly when you guys get to that point in college. And I can tell you, having several of my students who are graduating this year, not only are they graduating high school, they are graduating with their associate or AA degree from college. So when they go into university, they are starting off not as freshmen, they are technically starting off as juniors. So they are really going into this point. So my goal for you guys is this, and to kind of get away from eighth graders who are notoriously picky and quick to show why something is bad versus why something is good, and to criticize. I will say this: no, do we have to do everything on the website? Not every. I would say definitely you're going to, like I showed you. Let me go back here. Back. You are going to complete these two things, and I would do everything on this side, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. If you complete all those things, then you're good to go. Okay. So all you gotta do is that part. Or like, do we have to? Or like, what all do we have to do? Okay. So just follow the example. You're gonna do the 2 career assessment things on this side, then you'll take the assessment over here. Or actually, those are your 2 assessments. I apologize, I got that mixed up. And then you're gonna do these 2 things on the side, and then you guys should be good to go on that front. But what I was saying ultimately is this: I know a lot of us are quick to criticize and think how silly and stupid something is comparative. This is a huge life lesson for many of us, and some of us have had this conversation with at school in person, and some of us might be hearing this for the first time. Life is a game. Think of life as a game. There are certain steps you must complete to move on and progress to the next part of the game. Whether you think it's stupid, whether you think it's beneath you, whether you think it is unnecessary or illogical, life is full of illogical things. You have people who are wonderful, great human beings who just do everything they can to help other people and do great things, and they end up having an unfortunate circumstance. They lose their job. They lose their home. They pass away. Yet you go and see terrible, disgusting human beings who could care less about those around them, who could care less about doing the right thing, and they thrive and survive and they do well. And, we grow up as children thinking between the difference between morally good and morally bad, and then we start to realize as we get older that the world is really morally gray. It kind of just falls in the middle. There are people who do good things, but in reality are also doing bad things. And there's people who we look up to who aren't the people we should look up to, or the people they act one way in person and they act another way in a different situation. And all that is true, 100% true. But in life, to get to where you want to be, sometimes you got to play the game. Sometimes you do the homework assignment that you think is stupid and waste of your time, but you got to do it because that's ultimately going to get you to where you need to be. So when we think about our career paths, I want you to think of it in that sense. You're going to end up going, many of us will grow up and do a job, and they're going to be parts of their job that is really stupid. Things they do not agree with, things that they cannot stand, that they actually have to do. But that's life, and that's part of it. And, one day I hope every one of you grows up to be your own boss, but it is what it is. So, enough preaching. So, aside from preaching, this is what I would like you guys to kind of explore today. Tomorrow we're going to do our important figures of the Civil War. And for the rest of us, one thing I will say this, I was going through Focus. That election of 1860 poster got to get done. There's a large chunk of you who do not have it done. Needs to be complete. I didn't even put it in Focus yet because I saw that there is a chunk that needs to get it done. And make sure if you are turning in things late, just trade stocks. If you are turning things in late, you need to make sure you let me know, because I'm getting parents who freak out and say, "Well, my child turned this in 3 weeks ago," and I didn't hear anything, so I'll tell that to your parent. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," right? And I don't go back and look at assignments from 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to keep up with the ones that are currently coming in now. And continue to turn things in with the correct format. So do not turn something in with Apple-based product format. So pages and all that stuff, numbers, whatever they call their things. I'm running on PC, and I'm not going to go get my stepdaughter's computer just to go and access your assignments. I'm not doing that. You put it to my format, which should be PDF. Simply put, simple. So now I'm opening the floor to questions, comments, concerns. Also, weird point, and you can go ahead and put your questions in while I'm talking, because you're not going to hear me for about 25 seconds anyway. There are several, by several I mean about 8 or 9 of you who have not taken the test yet. And I've contacted admin. I'm finding out when can I officially close that out. When can I say, you know what, they had their chance. We're not doing this anymore. And that's I'm hopefully going to get an answer to that about that today or tomorrow. So if you are one of those people who have not taken the test yet, and I'm pretty confident everybody in this chat right now has. So we only do these 2 assessments. No. On this side, you're going to look, you got the Explore Occupations thing. Okay, so hold on. First, you have to do the assessments first, and then you go through and look at the occupations once completed. So, yes. Okay. So, do those first, and then work your way through the rest of it. Okay. Now, if you are one of those people who haven't taken that test yet, you get on there today and get it done, please. There are several of you who locked themselves out and sent me a message saying I couldn't get back in my test, blah, 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 blah. I let you back in, and you didn't complete it. So, I even messaged you back, hey, finish your test, and nothing. So if you are one of those, and I have like a very small list of those people, those are going in as zeros. And I'm telling you right now, from some of you, that's a 2 to 3 letter grade drop. So some of you can't afford to do that, okay? So make sure your assignments are being completed on time. You're following through. But yeah, this was per the district, per the admin, per Miss Lowe, who's our department head, that today we want you guys to try to get as many of you logged in and completed this as possible. So we're taking a little 1-day hiatus from the Civil War. We're back at it again. We're going to be looking specifically at the people who started the war, who were involved, all those things. And we just want to make sure that we are on the same page and the same track. So, any questions? Let me know in the chat if you feel like we need to have a Schoology conference at some point. I'm open. You just guys have to let me know. If you feel like you're struggling with something, you need to ask me a question verbally, that's okay. If you need to have a Schoology conference that's separate. Oh, I have another meeting in 10 minutes. It's for the awards ceremony. we're still giving out awards, and we have to have a Zoom meeting with all the teachers to figure out who's winning what awards. It's going to be a pain in the butt. I always hate those. I'm just keeping it real with you because I just want to goof around. So, anywho, guys, let me know if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns. Anything you guys need. Trying to think of other announcements, things I could tell you, things you need to focus on. Oh, how's that going to work? Is this all we have to do today? Yeah, Mary Allison, I just want you to focus on this today. This is the only thing I want you to focus on for my class today. This would be fairly simple. The award ceremony, you guys are probably going to be, your awards are going to be mailed to you. We're still working on a format. That's what the whole meeting's about. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do this because we have to technically, or not technically, but we feel like we should and we have to. You guys have given up a lot this year in terms of grad venture and dances and all those things you guys aren't having. So I would strongly suggest you go ahead and, or not strongly suggest you, we felt that we really need to go ahead and get this done for you guys. So we're working on that, but it should be fun, I'm sure. So, whew. Any other questions, comments, concerns? You guys are quiet today, aside from making fun of this website. And it's a very small chat today. Let's see who's all in here. I keep track of the people who come in. Yearbooks. They are working on a distribution system. I know. Here's what I do know. It's going to be alphabetical. So and it's going to be based on days. So certain days, certain people with the last name can go in and pick up their yearbook. They have been ordered. They're printed. They're I don't know. They usually come in May, so they're going to be in a few weeks anyway. So there is going to be a process to that. There's also a process in turning in your textbooks as well. This year, I don't believe I gave you textbooks. I don't think you guys took home textbooks for U.S. history this year. So you don't have to worry about me, but there's going to be certain days where people with a certain last name can go in and drop things off. It's limiting exposure and all that fun stuff. Good morning, Chester. It's a fun last name. Love it. So I guess I'm going into Infotech according to the site. Not that accurate. Hey, you never know. Mr. Robinson was slamming two Subway footlongs every single day. Working out, staying in shape, playing football, and look where we are. I'm a fat history teacher who's called the Donut King. So we picked them up, not mailed. They're going to be picked up from the school. The cost of mailing all those yearbooks would be horrific. So they are going to be picked up in person. They're working. That's the information that I was given up to this point. That they will be picked up and not sorry. All I care about for my job is from a form of engineering. Right now, I'm heading for electrical engineering. Hey, there's money in that, man. Engineering, there you go. Putting things together, solving problems. So, our hope is that we can go ahead and find a career that best suits our needs. Oh, there we go. Lawyer's always fun. That's our goal. I did the thing again. So, anywho, if you guys have no other questions, what am I doing? Please let me know. Engineering physics. Hello, Savannah. How are you? Seeing people jumping in, chiming in. Where's the... Sorry, we're having a technical difficulty on the other side of the screen that you can't see. Things are acting all weird. Anyhow, let's see. So, like I said, your goal today is to That's pretty weird. Is to focus on getting these 2 assessments done. Following up. There's going to be another story time video coming up on Friday. My first goal is hardware engineering at some computer company. There you go. I mean, it's just giving you ideas outside of the box that you may probably not have thought of. Hold on, sorry. There we are. All right. So, whew. Sorry, dead air. Never fun. Having said all that, guys, I have a meeting to attend. I want you guys to have a healthy, happy, safe day. 2 big important announcements. Like I just said, there's going to be a new story time coming up in a couple days. Also, Mr. Robinson online Twitch is almost ready. That is the last part of the Mr. Robinson Donut King online experience. To be a part of it, that is completely going to be at random. Don't ask me to play with you, because I probably won't at first. I need to get my Twitch legs under me. The technology is there. Coming up with concepts and things to do. So that's just for me to goof around and play with. So have a wonderful day. Be good, be safe, be well. If you have any questions. Hey, Savannah's getting a rabbit. Who's Boom Boom? And happy birthday, Boom Boom. I don't know who Boom Boom is. Sorry, I don't know by weird screen names. Oh, it's Connor. Connor is Boom Boom. I did not know that. Sorry, I have to be specific. So, like I said, have a wonderful day.